I want to bring in attorney, retired NYPD inspector, and Fox News contributor Paul Mauro joining our coverage now, as we do know that the verdict is in. We are awaiting that, Paul. I want to get your thoughts as I play out this sound from, speaking of bizarre moments, as Jonathan was just detailing, this sound from his daughter, Ruth's daughter, as she was exiting the courtroom there in Fort Pierce, Florida yesterday. Listen.
Okay, him trying to stab himself during the verdict speaks everything for itself. This man does not need to ever be part of society. These type of people do not need to be part of society.
Were you surprised he didn't want to take the stand in his own behalf?
No, why would he do that when they've been bullying him at every turn and making up and lying and fabricating evidence? And yeah, why would he take that risk when no one's being honest or in the courtroom and everything's against him? So.
All right, so Fox News alert in here. We've got the verdict is in, guilty on all charges. Count one so far, we know guilty unanimously. Paul, get your reaction here as we await more information from the courtroom.
So let's go back to the egg here in the aftermath of the incident. A lot was done right here. I know there were questions about how he got so close to then candidate Trump, but in the wake of what occurred, you had a witness step up who really held up, took a very, very smart look at the car, the plate, had a very good look at Ruth. And then who you're not hearing a lot about in building this case and bringing him into custody is the Martin County Sheriff's Office, who managed to get him pulled over. They did what's called a felony car stop, got him out of the car peaceably, back up in a way that nobody is in danger. They took.
I see at the bottom, it says that Ruth, during trial, said he does not have the capability to harm another human being. When you're at a golf course that happens to be the same golf course the President of the United States is golfing at, and you have a rifle by your side at the golf course, yes, that is having the capability to do that. You still have both arms, you still have both hands. Your capability of carrying out this shot to the president is very much there. And hearing the daughter speak on, everybody in the courtroom's lying about this is raising some questions. We didn't get to see a video of this situation compared to what happened in Butler, but with the many reports of what came out, supposedly, the Secret Service found this guy, found that a mysterious thing in the bushes was happening, and they went to go investigate to find out that it was a rifle, and this man behind it, this incident.
Possibly back up in a way that nobody is in danger. They took him into custody, and some of that is on tape. It's on the body cam, it's on the dash cam. They then brought the witness there. They call it a show up. That holds up constitutionally because they didn't bring the accused to the witness, but vice versa, which is the right way to do it. All of these things are things that are going to come up at trial and can be challenged. In this case, it went right from the get-go in the aftermath, and as a result, that narrative that Jonathan Turley is talking about was easy to construct for DOJ. I'm not saying it was simple, but they had a lot to work with. They made a compelling narrative that creates the picture, the storyline in the mind of the jurors, and obviously that was so compelling that in 3 hours they were able to come back guilty, all counts.
So you were following this, Paul, and the fact that the jury found that he was guilty on the count of attempted assassination of the president, when he was trying to make the case that, oh no, I didn't have it in my heart to pull the trigger, and B, the gun that I had wouldn't have shot him from that distance anyways. Let's not forget, though, that it would appear, based on where he had secreted himself, that he was waiting for President Trump to come up to the green on the 6th hole, which would only have been a couple of dozen yards away. But he was trying to make the jury believe this idea that he was a man of peace, he couldn't commit violence, he was just there for some reason with a rifle and a scope and a bunch of ammunition. Clearly the jury didn't give that argument much credence at all.
No, in essence, the crux of his defense, to the extent that there was a crux, was that, hey, I didn't mean it, I'm a nice guy, and nice guys don't do these sorts of things. And then also that the gun was inoperable, and that was the one expert witness that he called. was a gunsmith, and this ballistics expert came out and did a test firing on the gun twice, and both times the gun fired the first time. So his own expert witness really damaged his case that he was just there to observe or something. 9 hours in a sniper's nest waiting for President Trump. The note that said, if you're reading this, I have failed to kill President Trump.
Let's go to Dana Marie McNichol,
No.
who's live outside the courthouse. And Dana Marie, do we know the timing of the reading of the verdict at this point?
John, I just have a lot of breaking news in terms of the sequence of what happened right after the verdict was read. Now, it is quite shocking. As the verdict was read, it appeared to our producers inside the courtroom that Ruth tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen. That's what it appeared to look like. Then 4 marshals dragged him out of the courtroom, took his coat off. They then shackled him at the waist and ankles, and then they brought him back into the courtroom. So again, this just in from our producers, as the verdict was being read, Ruth tried to hurt himself in the neck with a pen. Now, we just saw that emotional reaction from that daughter, and now we know exactly why. So when Ruth was brought back into the courtroom, that's when her daughter stood up, started yelling and screaming. She said to her father, "Don't do anything. I'm going to get you out of here." This is what our producers are telling us just into the newsroom. She also screamed many expletives, and that's when we saw her run out of the courtroom. The video that we were seeing just moments ago of her not wanting to speak with the media, her evading the media, and then running off camera, as you see there. So just very, very shocking news. Our producers are still inside learning, hoping to get more, but after he appeared to hurt himself, he was then brought in by those marshals, John. So we're tracking this breaking news very, very closely and looking to see what comes next.
Okay, him trying to stab himself during the verdict speaks everything for itself. This man does not need to ever be part of society. These type of people do not need to be part of society. He had his fair trial, and during his sentencing, he decides to try to stab him, to try to kill himself. Now, the mental illness, whatever going on in his head, no excuses. You were caught. You were caught by the Secret Service trying to assassinate the President of the United States. I mean, that's prison for life, in my opinion. Prison for life. You didn't pull the trigger. Now, if you would have pulled the trigger, death sentence, automatic. And that's what should be ongoing with the Charlie investigation. They're trying to find out the exact truth of everybody who's involved. Who pulled the trigger exactly, and who was funding this, if there was somebody that funded this, or anything that's going on. There's so many conspiracies and so many things that are being talked about when it comes to Charlie Kirk's assassination. But I don't want to say too much, because I only want to speak on what's the actual truth of what's going on. I don't know if President Trump has made a video or spoke to the American people about his assassination attempt from Crooks at Butler, Pennsylvania, and as well as what happened with this individual. But I think it's very important that we need the President Trump to speak to the American people and say, hey, we are still doing investigations on my assassination attempts and figure out who was behind this, because they really brushed it off quickly after it happened. They said, oh, the FBI came out saying that Crooks didn't have any type of digital footprint on the internet. They don't know who he is, where he came from, and it's too suspicious, and you don't close the case until we find out the answers. And same thing is going on with Charlie Kirk, and I hate to say it, but I don't want this to turn into something that's the Martin Luther King or JFK files, where things happen and we're allowing our government to hush things and spend years to finally disclose a bunch of files to the American people and say, oh, go read it for yourself. And I don't like that, especially coming from President Trump, how he did that to the American people in regards to the JFK files. Speak to the American people directly. Hey, this is what happened. This is what led up to the events. This is what happened during the event. And this is what happened right after the event. And this is how, moving forward, we're going to be preventing this from happening again to other people, regardless who it is. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Till next time, this one's for Charlie.